The Hawaii Sports Radio Network presents Wake Up in the Den with Ku'ule Agbayani.
Good morning, beautiful people. It's Wake Up in the Den. I'm Ku'ule Agbayani alongside Paul Brex, and you're listening and watching on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, streaming on hawaiisportsradio.com via the Hawaii Sports Radio Network app, and of course live on our YouTube channel. Hello and happy Aloha Friday to all of you guys tuning in wherever you're tuning in from. I know we have people that watch the show. You guys are awesome everywhere from, where is it now? Australia, England was the newest one. We know we got Boise, Alabama, North Carolina, New York, New Jersey, and of course right here in Hawaii. So happy Aloha Friday to everybody. Again, broadcasting live every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, audio and YouTube, 8 to 10 a.m. Hawaii time. And you can always listen or watch back on demand wherever you get most podcasts. But we got a packed show for you guys. We're barely going to talk about any football whatsoever. No football is going on at all. Nothing on the docket for football. Are you kidding me? It is officially week 0. College football is here, baby. See, we got the sirens that were going on outside. Perfect timing. I was just thinking too. It's like, Paul, play a sound effect, but we got sirens that were in the background.
We're ready already. But yes, also.
Week 0, baby. So, of course, we will get to a lot more Hawaii football conversation. In hour 2, more so, we'll go back to Hawaii football specifically. We'll also let you guys hear a little bit from quarterback Micah Alihado, as well as Elijah Palmer, as Michael Esquero had a chance to chat with the defensive back a couple of days ago and have a one-on-one chat. So we'll let you hear that. We'll also get into some high school football. And, of course, naturally, Paul and I have to go through, because tomorrow's the first official game. So we'll have to go through once again our picks and win-loss throughout for the whole season. So we'll get to that in hour number 2, and then end the show with just our final predictions for what could happen tomorrow as Hawaii goes and plays Stanford. Again, 1 p.m. Hawaii time. You can watch it on the ACC network. A shout out to our friend out in Boise. I know he texted yesterday that said on Hawaiian Telcom, the channel should be 261 on Spectrum. So I was looking at it on my app, actually, my Spectrum Watch app. I didn't put it on the TV box, but I'm assuming they're pretty much the same channels. So on my Spectrum TV app, the channel is 251. So 261 on Hawaiian Telcom and 251 on Spectrum. And then you can also watch it if you have like the ESPN app, right? You can go on the app, I think, Paul, right, to watch like the ACC network as well, because there's that deal too. So those are the different ways that you guys can watch it, watch that game tomorrow, nationally televised. So we're into that. We'll get into some NFL stuff, as Dillon Gabriel had a pretty darn good final preseason game where he was the actual starter for the whole time. So get your thoughts on that. And then, yes, high school football. Shout out to the Kaimuki Bulldogs. Last night we were covering Kaimuki versus Waialua, an OIA Division II league game, the first league game of the season, really. And Kaimuki is snapping an 18-game win streak in the Bulldog Bowl. So shout out to the green and yellow Bulldogs that came out victorious last night. So we'll get you more details on that game. We'll hear from their head coach, Kavehi, and how it feels to finally break that losing streak. He did win on the flag football side, where he does coach as well, but able to win it on the tackle football side. So we'll get into some of the matchups coming up this weekend, all of that stuff. There's going to be a lot. And we're definitely going to get into some University of Hawai'i women's volleyball in this hour, as well as they start their season officially tonight against Georgia Southern at Banco Arena at Sand Sheriff Center. So we'll let you hear from what head coach Joshua Walker had to tell the media a couple of days ago in preparation for this upcoming weekend under the new Joshua Walker era in Rainbow Wahine volleyball. So it's a lot, folks. We're ready to rock and roll. How are you doing this morning, Paul?
I'm doing well. You kind of laid it out perfectly as to why as well. It is going to be a packed weekend of football, a packed weekend of finally kick off the Joshua Walker era officially with some really, really high-level competition, we'll call it, for the Rainbow Wahine. And on top of it all, yeah, last night, what a game we had on our in Kaimuki and Wailua in the Bulldog Bowl, the Battle of the Bulldogs, whatever you want to call it. Both of them taking bites out of each other. It was a great time. I am in a great mood. I also slept well, so you know
that's always good.
It's very rare in these days. So I am taking that as a good omen for what the weekend will be for us. But I'm doing well. I hope everybody's doing well. It looks like we got more people trickling in on here. Also want to say we reached 2,000 subscribers on YouTube. I noticed that last night, so I know I keep using this applause button, but
it's okay.
It is. This is applause for you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, listening to, at the very least, Ku and I drivel on about so many different things, or if you've joined us because of our Michael Lascaro's coverage of high school football, or you just kind of hopped on along the way because you like what we're doing here. We appreciate you being a part of our journey and hope that we can continue bringing some pretty fun content to you as this season goes on.
Oh no.
What happened?
Okay, no, sorry. I was just like making
Scared
sure
me.
that we were still going. It froze on me a little bit, so you know, I kept saying like our broadcast last night for the
we
game
made
went
sacrifices.
pretty much flawless. So it's about to, you know, something's bound to go wrong or something. By the way, I shared it with you, Paul and Kyle, but I would want to share it with all of you guys as well that are tuning in or listening in right now, because for the last couple of days I was able to go out to the Sheraton and kind of get some behind the scene content with our friends at VSIN. Shout out Tim Murray and Matt Humans, and also Justin Emery, the producer behind the scenes. But they were out here in Hawaii again. They did fly back last night to Las Vegas, but the host of VSIN Primetime and a college football podcast, which I encourage you guys to check out as well. But on Wednesday during their live show, you know, they had some technical difficulties and snafus from the hosts not being able to hear programming that back in Las Vegas, to the wrong audio clip playing, to just like a little bit
not
of everything.
Being able to find graphics,
right, the graphic. Yeah, it was. As much as I know it was stressful for especially Tim, because he's very like on it, part of me was felt, you know, it's not
just
like
nice.
It was
to
like,
know it's not just us.
Yes, and we're a 2-person show here, right?
Exactly.
So like they got everybody else like behind the scenes in Las Vegas, and they had their producer on site, and so I'm like, all right. It feels good to see that this does happen on like the highest level as well. So yeah, as much as I know how much that sucks and how stressful it can be, because we've been there. You guys have been watching us go through all of those ups and downs and technical things that we need to figure out over here on the fly. It was kind of nice. Like I said, it's not like I take, you know, like I want to laugh at it or anything. It's just, we're not alone, Paul. We are not alone. It happens, like I said, at the highest level. So we can be assured that sometimes that's just the way that it goes. But again, we appreciate all of you guys that either laugh at us or laugh with us. But if you're watching and you like and subscribe, then we appreciate all of you guys that have been on this journey with us for this time. And now we head into football season. So once again, we'll get into some University of Hawaii football a little later. Want to start off with just some minor college football news that have come out over the last 24 hours or so. One of the bigger news, I guess, deal with the Mountain West is that New Mexico now has officially lost who would have been their starting quarterback, and that is due to injury. So he is out for the entire season. But now we haven't seen this New Mexico team play, obviously, and so not entirely sure what's to make out of them and how significant of a loss that will be. But if you kind of equate it to something like here at the University of Hawaii, right? Like losing Micah Alejado for the season would just be detrimental. But fortunately for New Mexico, they do also have a strong defense. Just a reminder that Jackson Eka, their linebacker there, was selected to the all-conference preseason defensive player of the year. So they're still going to be, I reckon, like it's still a force. But at the same time, anytime you lose QB1 for the season, that is just not how you want to start the season, essentially. So that news did come out. So pretty significant as it deals with the Mountain West here, but we will see how they do heading forward now without their QB1. Other news to come out. This is something, well, this is like anything else. It's all fluid. But because I'm like, all right, because it's weird, right, Paul, with the whole like pro like football contract thing.
We've gone
like
too far.
Finally the adults, because I was saying, how about the adults that actually can make a decision to invite these players back? How about everyone gets together and says no? And that is what they did. Like, what was it? Like
kind
the
of.
SEC, well, the SEC,
The SEC, the Big Ten, the Big 12. Now the Mountain West has
did
joined.
yesterday.
And I think a few other of the
Yeah.
G6 conferences.
So it's like, okay, everyone's like in agreement that we should not have pro players back. And then I see an article this morning that now a judge is like, no, the conferences cannot just make this rule to not allow the players to come back that were professional.
So,
and I'm just like,
can I ask you a question? You have a little bit more understanding of legal background stuff because of schooling. I don't know how. I'm not going to force you to go back fully into it. What's stopping the schools from being like, yeah, okay, and still just going through?
100%.
Like, it's just I hear
There's
what
no
the
room
judge,
for you.
Right.
Yeah.
I hear what the judge is saying and whatever, I guess. Also, we've gone way too far in this whole thing. But what is stopping the schools from being like, okay, man? Like, I just, at the end of the day, I'm like, oh, you can't punish these schools or the players. You want to bet?
yeah.
That's, you know, my dad taught me a really, really fun line as my dad growing up. Whenever I was like, you can't do that. You want to bet?
yeah.
You want to bet? I bet you I can. Because at the end of the day, somebody's got to have some sort of ability to enforce their rules. The NCAA, I'm not going to sit here and defend the NCAA. This mess that we're in is because of the NCAA.
Yes.
But also at the end of the day, can't the NCAA make its own rules for the NCAA? Isn't that like private company and all the like whatever, all this stuff? Like, can't they make rules for themselves? What's the point of having rules to begin with? They may as well just throw out all the rules.
Yep.
Like, it's just, we have gone so far that it has gotten so ridiculous that, I mean, is the Protect College Act or Protect College Sports Act all of a sudden going to get the actual, you know, support that it needs so that we get government stepping on in? Like, it just, at some point, common sense has to prevail, right? Right? Like, and that's what it felt like was happening with these conferences being like, no, guys, we're not doing it. We are not doing it. You are not allowed to have former pros on your roster. And that felt right. Now, there are some of it that I do think through because they have the developmental or whatever, but also might be a small price to pay to just get a little back in. I don't know. I guess I'm asking you, why can't the NCAA just make their own rule?
I mean, honestly, I think that's why I'm like, I don't know how much power that judge has. Like, yeah, the judge can say you can't have that rule. But once again, like the schools collectively,
leave the conference.
The schools collectively can come together and be like, well, our roster is full.
Yeah.
So you can't, like, it's full now. Like, sorry, not sorry, it's full. So, okay, you can put a restraining order on this rule that we have, but we have no room. Like, you literally cannot, like, that is actually an NCAA rule. You have the roster cap now. You can have up to, what is it, like 105 players in football, all on scholarship, but that is a hard cap. If there's any kind of hard cap in college football, it is that roster spot.
Right.
So if it's full, then it's full. And like, you can't come back. Even if some judge says you can't enforce that rule, well, you can enforce that you can't have more than 105 guys on your roster.
Really funny if a team like LSU went like 12-0 this year. You remember the whole Florida State fiasco from a few years back? From when they had this phenomenal season and then all of a sudden they were left out of, I think, the playoff, right?
Oh, yeah, because they lost their start.
Yeah,
Was it Jaden Daniels?
No. They lost their starting quarterback,
Jaden Daniels, that's LSU.
who ultimately he became a Jets
Okay.
quarterback too for a little bit.
Okay.
Unfortunately, because he had a very severe injury.
Yeah.
But Florida State ended up missing out because I think they had like an undefeated season or whatever, and obviously the playoff was smaller then. Would be a little bit funny if the committee was just like, your resume just doesn't stack up against the others. You guys brought in pro players. You should have been better. You should have won every game by 50. Like, what stops the committee from making that decision?
Yeah.
I feel like we see stupid decisions about who the playoff teams are every year. Listen, you guys can bring in your pro players. You can have your great season. You're not going to get a chance to win the national championship. Sorry. Like, that's how I would handle it personally. Anyway.
Yeah. I just handle it with the rosters full. That's all. That's the only thing that I can think.
What you're asking for is for coaches and ADs to actually
I feel like it
be
is full.
adults.
Like it is legitimately full because we're going to get into the matchups this weekend. College football is literally here.
We have had games played already in the FCS. Division I college football has already been played.
Like, I would think it's crazy for some of these schools that have the means to have 105 guys on scholarship to be like, well, we're just going to save a few spots just in case this judge grants this TRO on the rule. But that would maybe be something LSU would do, yes. But at the same time, yeah, it's up to, again, the adults in the room to enforce themselves. Like, this is why we talk about
we have no shame in society anymore.
Well, this is what happens when everyone goes against the NCAA and then the schools don't want to regulate themselves, because we talk about it all the time. The reason why professional sports has a system and everyone follows the rules is because each team is owned by very wealthy people, and they're going to check themselves. They're like, no, you're not going to screw me. And so at least they are the ones, and then they work with the players, obviously, in the player association in terms of pay and all that stuff. And but at the end of the day, they all agree to this because the owners at any time can be like,
no,
well, how about we just don't fund any of you guys, right? Like, and I don't think that'll ever happen. It's too much revenue that they generate and income and all of that stuff. But that's why professional sports can operate that they have, because they have an actual oversight, and people will tattle on each other all the way down to what we saw before with tampering, right? Yeah. Like no wealthy person is going to want to get screwed. Nope. So they check each other. But in college, it's just everyone is just breaking the rules and they just don't really care. They're just going to do money. Like a lot of times it's obviously the school money, taxpayer money for all of these institutions. So they're like, it's not our money, so we can just do whatever we want. Like, why? Like, let's just do us. Like, don't worry about anybody else. But anyways, we can go on and on and on for this. The truth of the matter is, a lot of these conferences came out and said, we won't accept professional players, just like the Mountain West did. But then the judge kind of said they can't enforce that, so we'll see what happens. But yes, that's just your news for that. Next topic at this point. I guess just really quick as well, that there has been some new schedule announcements, as it does with this was just posted by On3. The FBS Oversight Committee has announced changes to the 2027 college football calendar. So the season start now moves to week 0. So guys, it is kind of a teardrop emoji a little bit, because it felt like for a long time, I mean, I know this weekend there's a lot more week 0 matchups as well, and we'll get to them in just a second. But for a while, it felt like Hawaii, it was like, at one point, it was like Hawaii was like the only FBS game in week 0. Then there was maybe like, I think last year was like 4, right? So, but now we kind of lose that uniqueness a little bit, because now the season as a whole will start this time next year. So you'll have your full slate of college football. So week 0 in what it stood for up to this point is officially getting eliminated. And then it'll now be week 1 with week all of it.
Dead.
Yeah.
It's dead.
So
just like the Pro Bowl. Sorry, Michael Oscaro made the reference.
I know,
of
Pro Bowl
Hawaii
is dead
Doomsday today and yesterday's, and honestly,
maybe when we get a new stadium, we can convince the Pro Bowl to come back.
Anyway,
let's see. Spring practice can now have 2 OTA-like periods, totaling 21 practices. In the January transfer portal moves to 10 days. So those are some of the little tweaks. But I think, like, as a college football fan, and of course, like I said, was the Hawaii football fan, that part with the season start, moving into the Hawaii football territory, what felt like the Hawaii football territory for so long. Now
it's gone.
Everyone's there now.
Yeah, it's so I came in and we talked about this because I was confused when I first read it. I'm like, I'm reading this wrong, or I'm not understanding it. Yeah, so week 0, which, like you said, has always been this almost an extra ability for teams to get a game in, especially for a while it was the Hawaii rule, more or less. Yeah, now everybody is going to be, not everybody, I guess. You can always have a week 1 bye for whatever random reason, I guess. But people will now be playing week 1 games in week 0, and instead they just get rid of that moniker and whatever. So they just wanted to confuse stupid people like me. That's all.
Never. All right, guys, chime in if you guys do want to get in on the conversation again in the live chat, or you can text us at 808-888-5481, 808-888-5481. Standard messaging rates apply, of course. Whatever that disclaimer is, I just want to say it just in case, just in case. Let's get into some week 0 matchups. Again, we will go into heavily go into Hawaii football and Stanford again coming up in hour number 2. But I did want to take a look at some of the other matchups that are coming up this weekend, because they are games that I know a lot of Hawaii football fans may want to pay attention to, because there are other Mountain West opponents that are in action, right? So, sorry, I just chuckled because seeing North Carolina being the official one to start the college football season, taking on TCU in Dublin, Ireland, just makes me chuckle so much. Like,
TCU was in the news this week.
So, but yes, that is your first game tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. Hawaii time, in live from Dublin, Ireland, will be TCU versus the second year of the Bill Belichick experiment. So
will
we'll
it
see
go
how
better
that
this
goes.
year?
No, I don't think so.
I think they'll be a little bit better, but not much.
No. TCU, by the way, the 9.5 point favorite right now. So we will see how that one goes. Don't want to spend too much time talking about that one, because the 9 a.m. game tomorrow morning is going to be an interesting one. San Jose State, right? Mountain West opponent. We will see what they got. Former UH quarterback Luke Weaver, officially the starter. And boy, what a welcome to starting quarterback gift that Luke Weaver has, taking on number 14 USC tomorrow morning in the Coliseum as well. Right now, USC, you're 38.5 favorite over San Jose State. Total set at 61.5. Former Kaimuki Bulldog quarterback Jaden Maiava, obviously the starting quarterback there for USC. So it is just kind of like a Hawaii crime type of game tomorrow morning. So 9 a.m. Hawaii time on NBC. That's a game that I encourage a lot of you guys to check out. Again, with the Hawaii guy leading the way for the Trojans. And then we all know about San Jose State, Kenya Matalolo, Craig Stutzman, and Luke Weaver being the starter over there. I just want to see how Luke Weaver handles himself, because if he does decent, right, like no one's expecting San Jose State to even be within this game, and that is not a knock to San Jose State. USC is just that good. Like, I would feel the same if Hawaii was playing USC. Like, USC and Stanford are not in the same type of level at this moment, right? That's why we anticipate the Hawaii-Stanford game to be a bit closer. But USC already well established, not close to where they would want to be as a whole, right? Like, I think the expectation when Lincoln Riley came in is that they would really compete for a college football playoff spot and then potentially making it far in the playoff. But I still think it's a game that I'm very, very curious about, mostly to see how San Jose State fares. Because, I mean, honestly, if they cover, like, if they lose by, say, like, 21 or something, like, you know what? That's going to be a decent showing
in my mind
by San Jose State. So, and then on the flip side, if they get blown out by like 50, then that says another thing as well. I don't think their defense is as strong too. So that's a little something to keep in mind for San Jose State. But it's definitely a game that'll be interesting and on my radar.
Yeah, it's one that I will certainly be keeping my eye on for brother Luke that I always refer to, hoping the best for him. Our Michael Iscaro tweeted out this morning, I think it was Pro Football Network had their FBS college football, or obviously, FBS starting quarterback rankings, 1 through 30 or 1 through 138. And he did a nice job highlighting the guys with, we'll call it Hawaii ties, because he threw Luke Weaver in there as well. Jaden Mayava, the number 1 quarterback on that list heading into the season. Luke Weaver, the number 100 quarterback heading into this season. So, yeah, like you said, if you can keep it within 21, if you can have a decent showing, if you're San Jose State, we don't love to talk about moral victories here, like we'd prefer not to. That would be a moral victory worth celebrating if you are San Jose State, where, listen, at the end of the day, I mean, USC, I got to imagine they're outspending San Jose State, what, 10-1? 15-1 more,
especially football, because I think men's basketball at San Jose State is what got a lot of money.
But even so, it's like, I would imagine that the two rosters, what money can buy, can be a pretty big separator. So if you are San Jose State, who had a fun offense last year, who put up numbers at times, why not? Who knows? Maybe they'll be able to put a little scare in. But I do expect USC to be competing for a college football playoff spot this year, so it would not shock me one bit if this does ultimately go and is trending.
It's okay.
But rooting for Brother Luke.
Come on, Spartans, you guys got this. Beat the Trojans. You got a Spartan-Trojan kind of battle that's going on here, but yeah, 61.5. I don't know. This is one where I'd be like, over. Because I feel like
I'm taking the over.
I mean, you're gonna take out your starters, right? Probably by the second half, you want to take out your starters, depending on what the score is. You don't want to risk them getting hurt. I'm talking about USC, and I feel like San Jose State might be able to get like a couple of garbage touchdowns here and there, right? Like, why not? All right, moving on over to a couple of other games that will interest those Hawaii fans, just because there are other Mountain West teams in action. So we just mentioned San Jose State. Also, 11:30 a.m. On CBS Sports Network, the newest, or one of the newest members in the Mountain West for football, North Dakota State hosting Jacksonville State. So once again, this is a game, North Dakota State just the 7-point favorite over Jacksonville State, playing out there in the Fargo Dome, which I can't wait till we can go out there next year. I think Michael actually might go out there when he goes to cover Valley City State University later in September. He might stop by, get you guys some content from Fargo and North Dakota State. But this is one where it's like, it's going to be like, this is the first time I am actually going to actively watch North Dakota State and pay attention, right? Like, I've watched FCS just because they've always made it to the playoffs, and football is football. But I don't like completely invest into every single thing. But tomorrow morning is definitely when I will be like, all right, let's see what this North Dakota State team has, because they are in Hawaii's schedule, because there is a lot of expectation, right? Even though they are moving up from the FCS, a lot of the preseason polls have them in the top 5 of the Mountain West. So they are definitely someone I'm going to keep in mind. Again, that game, 11:30 a.m. to Hawaii time tomorrow morning. And then also a big game in the Mountain West opponent that Hawaii will face next week. The nightcap, the afternoon cap tomorrow for week 0 slate of college football will be UNLV hosting Memphis. Memphis being a very strong football program. Las Vegas, though, a 4.5-point favorite, so expected to be close there at Allegiant Stadium. But UNLV, another one. The biggest thing I'm curious about UNLV is their quarterback situation, because from what I've heard through Coconut Wireless, they might actually throw interchange two guys out there because they just don't really have a solid starter right now. Calandria actually named the starter of Nebraska, so in the little movement of everything. Where Dylan Raiola, as we know, was the starter at Nebraska, went to Oregon, and now it's all the movement. So the former UNLV quarterback that Hawaii faced last year, and Anthony Calandria, went over to Nebraska and officially named the starter over there. But UNLV, yes, definitely paying attention to what their offense looks like and how they fare against a very strong, or what can anticipate a very strong Memphis team.
Yeah, you lay out the two that I have my eyes on most. Obviously, Jacksonville State goes 9-5 last year in Conference USA, so a quality G6 program in that, a nice test for North Dakota State right away. I am curious how that'll end up. I do think it's interesting just because I do have a lot of respect for NDSU. I'm going to say just a 7-point favorite, but also at the same time, it's their first game as an FBS school, a first game. And, sometimes there's a little additional pressure there. I am going to have my eye on that one. UNLV Memphis, that's certainly going to be an interesting one. Jackson Arnold was named the starting quarterback by Dan Mullen, I think on his show yesterday, something like that, late yesterday. But as you said, I have also heard that there's a solid shot that there might not just be one quarterback who gets all of the snaps for UNLV. Though, who knows? Jackson Arnold has an ability now, if he is going to start against Memphis. Listen, you have the spot on the field. Make it so that he can't take you off. And against Memphis, that is the opportunity that is presented for you. It'll be interesting as well because we've talked about this a little bit off air. Regardless, Hawaii and UNLV play in week 1. And that's going to be a big time game because both of them, they're probably looking at their week 0 matchup saying, we could start this season off with a bang and we can show everybody in the country, hey, come look in the Mountain West. We got some dangerous squads over there. So I will keep my eye on that. I'm glad that's the nightcap of the day. I can honestly close out my day after that. Maybe I'll write the part of the recap during that or something like that,
Definitely something we'll be watching after the Stanford game as well. And then even more so too, like say if both, I know UNLV is the favorite, but say it doesn't go their way tomorrow. And if they lose, and I said this earlier this week, and Hawaii loses, that's as if it didn't already mean a lot because it is a conference game right off the jump next weekend with UNLV coming out here to Hawaii. But just to remind everybody that the G6 college football berth auto bid, I guess, so to speak, is up for grabs. You don't have to win the conference championship. Now, do I think we'll get to a point where they actually allow someone who didn't win their conference championship in? I feel like that's a stretch, but nonetheless, if they lose, like you need to have that type of resume, right? So not only is it massive in terms of the conference, but if you can get say a UNLV and UNLV ends up doing well against some of their other non-con opponents or down the stretch, that's going to bold very well in Hawaii's favor because you do need to, like I said, if it doesn't go well, if they lose to Stanford, or if they get blown out by Stanford, you're going to need to collect some of those high quality wins. And if UNLV loses, they're out to try to make a college football playoff as well. So they want to come out here and make a statement, winning on the road where it's hard to win in Hawaii, all of that stuff against road opponents that are coming out here to the island. So expect if UNLV loses that it's not like they wouldn't be hungry and trying to win a conference game. But if they are coming off of a loss, it'll just be like, well, we probably don't have the nice Dan Mullen that we saw at Mountain West Media Days. No. He is like business Dan Mullen, especially if they need to get back against Hawaii.
What was his like little cabana or whatever? He was telling you
he owns like a house, a little cottage, I guess, in the Bahamas, and
That's
they call
what
it.
Was.
I think it's called Mahalo.
Yeah, something like that. I remember that because he was very like chill, calm
so chill
when he chatted with you guys. Real cool guy. I hope he's able to be that way, and then Hawaii can take advantage of that in week 1 because, that'll certainly be a big game. Week 0, a lot on the line. It's funny. Sometimes you sit here and you think like, it's week 0 or it's the start of the season. You can always bounce back. Like one loss isn't everything. But man, the stakes are high for both UNLV and Hawaii in that week 0, considering what you just said. Yeah. Both of them have some college football playoff aspirations. You'd really like a big-time win to begin your year to strengthen that resume.
Woo. Well, got to take care of business first for Hawaii again at Stanford, 1 p.m. Hawaii time on the ACC network. We'll get into more of our final predictions for the season and sprinkle a little bit more on our thoughts of that matchup coming up tomorrow in hour number 2. And then we'll let you guys hear from Micah Alihado, what he had to tell the media a few days ago, and also Elijah Palmer and what he had to tell our Michael Liscaro, as Michael had a chance to catch up with him a couple of days ago after practice as well. So stick around for that. I do want to transition a little bit now and get into some Rainbow Wahine volleyball for just a second. Don't worry. We will get back into football within this hour, but I want to make sure we pump up our ladies as well, as that's coming up tonight, 7 o'clock p.m. at Banco Arena at San Sheriff Center. The first serve of the Joshua Walker era as head coach for the Rainbow Wahine volleyball team officially. Now we know we had that exhibition against Chaminade, but now this does count, and they will only they won't play a fourth set if they're winning. But again, I hope you guys are going out there. If you're not going out to Stanford, go out and support this team this weekend. They have a very tough schedule ahead of them to open things up. Georgia Southern tonight. They got nationally ranked Baylor tomorrow, and then a very solid San Diego squad that's always competitive and in the top conversation, have been nationally ranked before. So they're going to need all of your support. But before we talk about it a little bit more, I do want to let you guys actually hear from what head coach Joshua Walker had to tell the media a couple of days ago, and it just kind of starts, with his opening thoughts about getting things started this weekend.
Yeah, really excited. The group has been working really hard, so just ready to get some competition going. But we've been trending up as we finish up our camp, and just excited to get some real competition.
The significance of today, you've been a part of many, many teams, that team picture that lives on forever, no matter what this team goes on and does. The significance of that and how excited you are for that.
Yeah, just a team picture? It's one of those things where it's like I still search myself and pops up on the website of all these pictures that have been in the past. So just excited for us to do this as a group and us to really kind of have a starting point for this team and what the season can be. So it's going to be great memories.
And today's day one of having everybody here, to have Kutum said here, how excited are you?
Yeah, really excited just because already things that we can make sure that we're clean with and systems that I know that she's going to be great with. She already has some input on that, so it's just going to help us be that much more smoother machine going forward. So all the athletes are going to benefit from it.
Coach, we talked to you after the exhibition against Chaminade, but since that point, how have you guys kind of taken what you learned from that exhibition into practices and getting ready for this weekend?
Yeah, I think some of it is just making sure we're still improving on the things we didn't necessarily work on until we had some game information. So now it's just kind of defining roles a little bit and just making sure that things that we can do as a team, like our serving, our defense, that kind of stuff, is that we're able to have some kind of system in place against everybody we play. And then the offense is just, once again, trying to control our side of the net and make sure that we have hitters that can stay in rhythm in all different types of rotations.
Obviously, this opening tournament has a lot of high-level volleyball teams coming on in it. Can you talk a little bit about the benefit of starting a season off, challenging yourself like that, rather than trying to maybe get things rolling against a lower tier?
Yeah, I think you kind of look across the nation this past week, and the top teams in the country were playing each other. So you gotta want to get those games underneath your belt, because you got a quicker fix to know what is real and what isn't real, and then that way you kind of have an idea of what you need to work on or what can improve as you head into conference play.
Just out of curiosity, Coach, how are you approaching the 5-for-5 role, and how's it changed roster management and recruiting?
Yeah, I don't have to make any decisions just yet. For us, it's just let's get established with this team and see how things are going to go. But as we hit towards the back end of the year and those questions are kind of come up, we'll address those then.
Coach, you got there was a social media clip I saw go all around. I think Chalet Reed posted it. Do you have any response that you want to say to that?
I think we've been getting better at blocking, so that's a good thing. Second thing, they didn't post any of the other highlight clips, so they found one and they were really excited about that, but hopefully they're not as excited when they get blocks like that going forward.
And that was University of Hawai'i Rainbow Wahine volleyball head coach Joshua Walker. I do have the video, by the way. So here it is that we're talking about, that he gets blocked. By the way, shout out to Coach Walker, still getting the hops there and able to even attempt to do the little spike there. Getting blocked, a little roof there, and his team, they even do a close up and everything of it, and they're just so excited.
It's so funny, dude. I have watched
They're
this
so
video.
fired up about it.
I think I've watched this video maybe double-digit times at this
So
point.
awesome. Like, they were just so excited about it.
Just so funny. And you know what? As they should be. Coach Joshua Walker, in his prime especially, was a killer.
Yes.
And even so, you said it. He's still got some hops. He's still getting up there. He commented back on that video on social media, and he was like, guess there's a first time for everything as well. So I thought it was fun. It was a nice little way to close our media veil with him. And he loosened up a little bit too. We got a little smile out of him. So I was I was glad to get that in there. Just some good vibes, good mana heading into the weekend, because if they can block Coach Joshua Walker, the Skywalker, turning into the Sky Blocker, I mean, hey, at the end of the day, who knows? Maybe we get a little bit of magic. But no, on the real, I was glad we got an opportunity to chat with Coach Walker just to see kind of where the team is at, see where his mindset is at, see where the coaching staff is at heading into this first weekend, because I do think that it's going to be important that they're all on the same page going against real high-quality opponents. I mean, Georgia Southern, I believe, was picked second in their conference preseason poll, if not first. Last year, we're flirting with 20 wins. You brought it up before. Baylor, obviously, you got the Baylor tie to begin with, but you also have the fact that we're ranked, and then just on the outside looking in, they received votes in the opening preseason top 25 poll. So a couple of victories this weekend could go a long way for the Rainbow Wahine. Very, very excited to see what they end up being this season.
And remember, you can watch it either if you're here in Hawaii, you can watch it on K5, the home team, and you can go ahead and watch it on the Mountain West Plus app. If you haven't already, make sure you purchase it and select Hawaii so that a portion of the subscription can go to the University of Hawai'i as well. And I guess it's going to be a little bit, maybe, but was it early September when the discount ends or something?
I think there is.
Got to go look at it.
Till the... I'll
if you want to
search
save,
for it.
it's
But
just save a little money. Yeah, it's a little bit of money that you can save. It is an annual subscription, and you get all of these games, right? And including a game like tomorrow with Rainbow Wahine Soccer that's in action at 4 p.m. against HPU.
What
So
is it, 200 games for UH alone, not to mention it does give you access across the conference. So yeah, I recommend it. If you need, I purchased it personally, and I am notoriously stingy about spending money that I don't feel I have to. I will, before I hand it back to you, I got to give a shout out to our friend in Boise, Chris in Boise, in the chat saying Miliana is the Sky Blocker. And you know what? Amen. Amen. Because she looked like a monster versus Chaminade. Like, she was fully ready to go. It wouldn't shock me if she's in for a big season this year as well. So good call, Chris.
that's a good one. Yeah, Sky Blocker. I like that one. I wonder if it's been used yet. You heard it here first.
gonna say.
Thank you to Chris for suggesting that. Very, very creative there. All right. Some more information for all of you that are here in Hawaii and planning to go out to the game. Again, coming up today or this evening, 7 o'clock p.m.-ish. It is going to follow the Baylor-San Diego game. So if you are just a women's volleyball fan, I would go early. If you have nothing to do, go early to the stand. 4 p.m. is the first game. Your one ticket can get you into that game as well for the evening. That's probably going to be a really fun matchup to watch. So 4 p.m. is the first game, and then Georgia Southern versus Hawaii, approximately 7 o'clock p.m. But if you are going out there to support the University of Hawai'i, it is Wear Your Green. So that is the theme today. So if you're going there, our team, Hawaii's team, is the theme, and they are encouraging fans to wear their green to support the Rainbow Wahine. Tomorrow, against the nationally ranked Baylor, you are encouraged to wear white. Just all of the ties that Paul we just kind of mentioned and have been mentioning when the schedule was announced. And then let's see. On Sunday, that game is a little earlier. So today and tomorrow at 7 p.m. And then Sunday is the earlier game at 5 p.m. The Kind Series Uchi Nachu night. So they'll celebrate the Okinawan Festival, recognize the histories, cultures, and contributions of the Okinawan community in Hawaii. And portions of the match will be announced in Okinawan, courtesy of the Hawaii United Okinawa Association. So that's really cool. I do like how University of Hawaii Athletic it kind of incorporates all those different theme
it's
nights
so
and all
cool.
the different cultures, because Hawaii is just made up of so many different cultures here. So that's really, really cool.
We should also mention that earlier in the week we talked about jersey patch news with football, but it also will be the debut of jersey patches for the Rainbow Wahine this weekend as well. Announced that First Hawaiian Bank is going to be the jersey patch sponsor for both the Rainbow Wahine volleyball team and the men's basketball team this season. So if you want your first look at those, or I guess your first look at any UH uniforms with a patch on it, because they will play before football does.
I'm like the correct ones for women's volleyball with the correct conference on it.
No comment. Your Honor, I am pleading the fifth. Your Honor, I do not.
Anyways, if you do want to save a little bit of money, though, one last thing to let you guys know about for Sunday's match. So they have a Ohana Sunday special that Sorry, if you guys are go to Hamada General Store to get the lunch, they always like their specials. They spell it like SPESHO, so that's what I think of, special. They should spell it like that on here. It would be funny. Where UH fans receive 4 upper baseline tickets and $50 in concession vouchers for only $79. Pretty good deal to take the family for the early evening there to support the Rainbow Wahine volleyball program. So you can go to hawaiiathletics.com or eTicket Hawaii to see and take advantage of that special as well. So once again, shout out to Rainbow Wahine women's volleyball. It always still jumbles my mind, like head coach Joshua Walker. Like I sometimes I want to say men, because it's like you associate Coach Walker with not only as a player, obviously,
but then he was on the staff for the 21 and 22 national title runs, and just
I know. By the way, they're giving away our secret on social media. Thanks, Matt Elliott.
What are you talking about?
They were Matt was showing Coach Walker's office and like the view of the stadium. May or may not have watched the portions of football game from that office before. So like
keep it quiet.
But that was I appreciated that video though, because then he kind of asked Coach Walker what it was the must-have in the office, and naturally you got to do the flex. It's like, oh well, the national championship rings that we won on the men's side have to be in here, and then you see like the national championship or the Big West trophies that are in there as well that were won under Coach Robin, and so that was really, really cool. Kind of a lot of trophies that can fill out Coach Walker's new office. So wish him all of the best. Again, it's going to be a big weekend. We're going to see a lot of things. They're going to learn a lot, and I'm just really excited. And let's go Bows. Hope you guys either go out there and support the Rainbow Wahine or tune in and watch on a K5 or the Mountain West Plus app. All right, Paul, want to get back into some football for just a second as well, and look on over on the NFL side because Dillon Gabriel? Question mark. That, I mean, he had a pretty darn good showing last night with the Cleveland Browns. Well, he definitely looked dapper in the post-game press conference. No, just because if you guys missed it, I just posted it on our Dillon Gabriel, and I was actually wearing a kind of like a camo University of Hawai'i. Well, it just had like the top of H on it, and it was like a gray camo hat in the post-game press conference, and I was like, whoa. It was like the Leo meme.
Yeah, I know the exact thing that you're talking about.
Oh my gosh, that is so cool. I'm so I only saw it this morning, so I don't have like the photo for you guys to pull up on YouTube, but I thought that was so awesome.
Oh, it's super dope. I'm confused as to why.
I mean,
like
he's supporting Hawaii.
Yeah, but he could have supported Hawaii by going to Hawaii.
Oh.
Like,
okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Well, no, because I'm just thinking of the full circle moment, because he went to go get paid a lot of money and then kicked back a lot of that money to Mililani High School. So.
I am not poo-pooing him going elsewhere. It's just funny to see a guy who played at, what, three different colleges?
Support the home team. I didn't go to UH.
It's just really funny. I was just like, it was so random, but it's cool. It's cool. And yeah, to build off your point, he played awesome in this game. Third preseason game has kind of turned into what the fourth preseason game used to be, which is more guys who are really fighting for a spot on their roster or trying to audition for perhaps another team. And I do think that that's probably what last night was. Deshaun Watson obviously was named the starter for the Cleveland Browns. I'm sorry, Cleveland Browns fans. Shedeur Sanders seems to be the only one that was truly in the quarterback competition with him for whatever reason. But Dillon didn't ever seem to complain about that. Dillon seemed to continue to wait, and took his mental reps, he took his physical reps during practice, and he went out there and balled out last night. And at the end of the day, I mean, in a league where, trust me, as somebody who has watched a lot of bad quarterback play, there's a lot of bad quarterback play in the NFL, from starters to also just backups. I do think there is a good shot that Dillon saved his career is so dramatic, but a good shot that Dillon might have reinvigorated his career a little bit with that performance, where instead of getting cut, maybe now you see him get traded. Would the Atlanta Falcons be interested?
That would be funny.
Well, the reason I bring it up, Kevin Stefanski, the guy who drafted him, the guy who very clearly liked him last year, and kind of what I brought up before about Tua Tagovailoa, why he likes him and whatever. I mean, why not take a dart if you want it for a 7th round pick or something like that, or somewhere down the line like that? Like, for me, last night was big for Dillon because I think that it showed, hey, there is still something here. You can roster me, even if it's not in Cleveland. And by the way, I think that might be for the best for him.
Yeah, like I hope that another team and or Cleveland does the right thing. I want to pull this up too. It was tweeted out by Braden Fehoko, and also it just has the stats there for you guys of Dillon Gabriel, 12 for 15 yesterday, 186 yards and 3 touchdowns, 157.9 rating. But Braden Fehoko tweeting out that, and then of course Cleveland won the game 26-10 over New England. But he tweeted out, that's all she wrote for Dillon Gabriel. First true evaluation at QB this year, and he was perfect. Andrew Berry has some serious thinking over the next week to figure out if he wants Shedeur or DG at QB2 long term. A year from now, none will have trade value, which is 100% true. So yes, hopefully we are going to be able to see Dillon Gabriel somewhere else and not in Cleveland, because it's just a bleep show there in Cleveland. And
I mean, they've got a trillion quarterbacks, and he never got a fair shake.
I mean, their starting quarterback in Deshaun Watson, like nobody wants him, right? Like he is, and this is where, again, not to go back to the whole pay for play that we have now in college sports, but it's kind of getting to that point, and that's what I would hate for it to be, where guys and coaches are almost forced to play guys that are getting paid a certain amount because of NIL. And then that is exactly though what's happening in Cleveland. Like they feel like they need to play Deshaun Watson massive guaranteed contract.
Feel bad for Todd Monken.
He was like a stinker in his preseason out there.
Wasn't like he was a stinker.
Everyone and fans were booing him. Now, of course, you already don't like him for his other things.
We can toss that out for now.
But then we talk about this all the time, as unfortunate as it is, winning and being good unfortunately washes away some of those sins. But he has that. And he was bad. And so
good catch.
and he was bad. And so he got booed, deservedly so, and and still named the starter. But it's because he has that contract. So yes, Dillon Gabriel, I hope that they are able to trade him somewhere, and hopefully he ends up somewhere. If it is Atlanta, it would be kind of fun to have two Hawaii quarterbacks there on the same team. Or I know Las Vegas doesn't need a quarterback per se, but then I just think of like, oh, well, he can be, with the Ninth Island or maybe any of the West Coast teams or something.
I want him to go to somewhere warm. So it's funny because I'm sitting here and it's like, in a sense, DG would be great for like just a backup quarterback dart throw for the Jets of like whatever. But I don't want to see Dillon in cold weather. Like with love and respect to him, I don't want to see him in cold weather. And also, I don't know, I think there are better...
Miami?
Well, that's another place, right? There are a bunch of different places that he could end up where once again, I don't know if he has a future as a real starting quarterback in the NFL. Like, I know that ship maybe has sailed at this point, whatever, older prospect and smaller in frame and blah, 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 blah. But we talked about it when he was getting drafted. He has continued to show that the brain is there. He's continued to show an ability to master an offense. He's continued to show the ability to be productive. And a lot of times that's what, at least as a fan, that's what I'm looking for out of my QB2. I'm not asking you to come in and save our season. I'm asking, can you come in and hold us and keep us in the 2-3 games that you got to start a year because of an injury? I think Dillon can do that. And I do think that if you are the Browns at this point, it seems like there is a mandate from the top where it's Deshaun Watson and it's Shedeur Sanders. Those are the two that they are running with, whatever. Then get your value now, because Fehoko's correct in terms of if you wait a year from now, teams are going to understand you're going to have to cut one of them, especially because you drafted Taylon Green out of Arkansas this year. So they've got 4 quarterbacks on the roster right now. They got to figure that out. And one of them's making way too much money to just the one they'd love to say goodbye to is making way too much money. Like, that's the thing.
Dude, as down in the dumps it has been for years, as a Chicago Bears fan, I'm glad we don't have that situation. And it's so weird to say that because during the draft, this was, and I'll remind people again, this was the stinker of a trade that the Bears made with the 49ers to move up a slot to draft Mitch Trubisky in the same class that you had Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson. And I didn't know too much about Patrick Mahomes at that time, but I really wanted the Bears to draft Deshaun Watson. And he was a good quarterback. There is a reason why he got that contract.
Stuff. Yep.
He was incredible in Houston.
Dabo Sweeney called him Jesus and cleats.
And then, then it completely derailed. But he was a good quarterback. He's not that quarterback anymore. But yes, Cleveland is just like, we got to play them. So I hope, please, Cleveland, do the right thing. And then if you are a fan of any of these other NFL teams and you're not confident about your backup, because it feels so weird to say this now, because as a Chicago Bears fan, it's like, wow, I can't believe I feel so secure with the quarterback position because you have Caleb Williams as your starter. Tyson Bagent is very adequate where you're like, if Caleb has to get, Case Keenum looked great in the preseason. So it's like, man, it's nice to have this kind of confidence that if something happens to Caleb, who likes to scramble all the time and stress you out, that you can have somebody that can that you can have a backup that can be, like you say, just be adequate. You're not going to expect them to make crazy plays like a Caleb Williams, but at least not lose the game. At least be able to stand in there, which, like you mentioned, Dillon Gabriel seems like what about the Commanders? Because Marcus, I think, is injured
for a bit at the very least. Yeah, it's not a bad spot. Like I said, I really think that there are a lot of teams that, there's so much bad quarterback. You have to, in today's NFL, you have to have a backup quarterback that you can trust. It's just the fact of the matter, because in the 17-game season, how many guys are playing 17? That's like a legitimate question of, like, if you go through, it seems like everyone at least misses a game except for Josh Allen. And even he probably misses the last game of the season because they're normally clinched in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is, like, injuries happen every single year, even if it's just a tweaked ankle or whatever. The teams who refuse to address their backup quarterback ultimately see seasons that could be good for them go by the wayside. It happened to the Jets a couple of years ago when they had Rodgers. They did not take backup quarterback seriously. He tore his Achilles 4 snaps in, and all of a sudden, a year that was supposed to be the playoffs, up in smoke, because you didn't take the backup quarterback spot seriously. Anyway, I thought all you can ask for when you're a player is an opportunity, and then from there, it's on you to perform when you get your opportunity. Dillon got an opportunity and went out there and really performed. I couldn't be happier for him. I hope it turns into now a spot with a little bit more comfort or a little bit more stability somewhere else, because it has seemed like he's been playing third fiddle ever since he got to Cleveland, not by his own volition or even by coaching staff's volition. So
let's go, DG. It feels so weird to not be like, come to Chicago. We're full, but it's okay.
There are 31 other teams. So
Yeah. Go to the Jets.
I guess 30 other
but like
teams.
you said,
'cause you
I
can't go to
prefer not
Browns.
the cold weather. All right, last thing here before we take our top of the hour break, I want to make sure that we give a shout out to former University of Hawaii kicker Rigoberto Sanchez. Rigo for the Indianapolis Colts signed a contract extension with Indy, and I believe it just continues to be one of the highest paid kickers now, or punters, in the NFL. So Bo's in the pros, Bo's continuing in the pros. So shout out to Rigoberto Sanchez there. Woo! See? You can play at the University of Hawaii and make it to the NFL. So there you go.
Absolutely.
Shout out Rigo. It's really, really cool to see someone be that successful and continue on in the NFL. But all right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we will get into University of Hawaii versus Stanford. Let you guys also hear from QB1 for Hawaii, Micah Alihado, as well as DB Elijah Palmer and his conversation with Michael Iscaro a couple of days ago. And then Paul and I will go through the schedule and because kickoff is tomorrow already, go through our win-loss predictions for this season. Oh, I hate this so much because you just don't ever want to talk about losing. But you know what? That's what we got to do. This is the business that we're in. All right. Feel free to text us as well. We'll be right back on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
You're listening to the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, streaming 24/7 at hawaiisportsradio.com and on the new Hawaii Sports Radio app.
Welcome back to Wake Up in the Den, hour number 2. I'm Ku'ulei Agbayani, right next to Paul Brecht on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network. Streaming on hawaiisportsradio.com via the Hawaii Sports Radio Network app, and of course live on our YouTube channel. Happy Aloha Friday, and thank you for tuning in every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday live on our audio platforms or right here on our YouTube channel, or if you're watching or listening on demand. Shout out to all of you guys too. That's why you are the beautifulest of all the beautiful people. Feel free to text in or chime in on the live YouTube chat or text us at 808-888-5481. That's 808-888-5481. All right, we're going to get back into some college football. Again, week 0. In the beginning of hour number 1, we kind of went through all of the other matchups that we're curious in because there are a few other Mountain West teams that are in action. You have San Jose State against USC. You have North Dakota State against Jacksonville State. And then you have UNLV and Memphis. So a few other for Hawaii football fans just to kind of see what these other Mountain West teams look like in their week 0. But of course, the main game that we are most interested in is definitely University of Hawai'i versus Stanford. Throughout the last couple of shows this week, Monday and Wednesday, Paul and I have done different versions of previewing this matchup as well. So if you guys missed any of that, you can go listen or watch it back on our YouTube or on our podcast platforms. Oh, I did want to mention too, if anyone's never seen me wear this shirt before and they're curious, it is. Now, we talked about, the special teams unit having one of the bigger question marks and seeing how they fare. But I had to wear it's like a little skull thing, my Thomas Sheffield Ride or Die special teams shirt. I'm trying to, Hawaii special teams there. So, in case it's like, wow, she's wearing like a big skull on her shirt.
Yes.
If you guys didn't know, Thomas actually has like this skull tattoo on his chest. That was like our first early on that we learned about him when he was coaching at Nevada with Timmy and everybody. He had this part in like their team session room where he was like, ride or die. And then he like ripped off his shirt and had like this skull tattoo. I have that video. We might have to bring it back for our YouTube audience sometime. Yeah. But yes, in case that is explaining my fit today, obviously no explanation needed really for Paul's fit there.
I did you say that fans are supposed to wear green tonight?
Yes.
I didn't even know that. Bad job by me reading the fan promo. Sorry. But yeah, I didn't even know that. But yeah, I figured we're heading into a full weekend of Hawaii sports because not only is it Rainbow Wahine volleyball, you got football, also got to toss in there our friends on the pitch as the Rainbow Wahine soccer team takes on our friends over at HPU. So yeah, a lot of different Hawaii stuff. I figured this was all encompassing.
Yeah.
It says we're Hawaii. That is what we are.
I like that. Massive weekend as you know, is laying it all out there that Paul has that we have to look forward to as Hawaii fans and as college football fans in general. So let me take a look real quick. I actually did not look this morning. Oh, well, having a little bit more confidence in Hawaii, I see. So on Monday, we were talking about Hawaii is the 5.5 point dog.
By the end of the show, I think it had dropped, right? Or
well,
by the
I know
end of
that
the day.
afternoon. Yeah, end of the day, it had gone to Hawaii getting just 4 points. And now I'm looking right now, half a point. And yesterday it was 4. And then this morning, the odds be a bet MGM. Now the spread is down to 3.5, with the total still staying put there at 48.5. Hawaii plus 160 on the money line and Stanford minus 190. So maybe it has to do with a certain receiver that was in the group picture.
Unironically, I don't think that we are far off or you're far off in that could have a little bit of an impact just seeing him travel. Obviously, Jared Ursua to Christian Shimabuku of Aloha State Daily earlier in the week also said, Stanford better be ready. The safeties better be ready because he might pop up. And then all of a sudden he popped up in the picture. So I guess, listen, at the end of the day, I don't expect Pofele to play, but I also not in the meetings every day.
Yeah, we also don't know.
Pofele has been doing full sprint conditioning stuff for almost a month now on the sidelines. Like, he's very visible during practices, even if he's not out there with, the first team offense, the second team offense or whatever. So at the end of the day, it is like, I chuckle at it because it feels as though it's gamesmanship, but since he's on the trip, you never really know. That being said, I don't know if Hawaii should be counting on a non-100% Pefele Ashlock or a freshly 100% Pefele Ashlock. I do think that you should still lean into everybody else for this. But nonetheless, yeah, 3.5, huh? Good.
Yeah, good.
Keep on
A lot
going.
of confidence there in Hawaii. And if, because this is getting a little tricky now. See, like the 5.5 was easy for
Oh,
me to
it
be
is
like,
such an
Hawaii,
easy, dude.
Hawaii plus 5.5. Yeah, no problem.
Little layup.
Now we're getting into the 3.5 territory. All right, well, before we continue on with that conversation, want to let you guys actually hear from QB1, who is healthy.
Thank God.
There is no question. He is QB1, even though there was no depth chart. There are some
Are you sure?
positions
Are you sure?
that we know have their starters there. So Micah Alihado, again, made available to the media a few days ago. The team did leave on the charter yesterday, but they had their media scrum Tuesday, I want to say. We heard from Timmy Chang on Wednesday, but I did want to let you guys hear from Micah Alihado as well. So this just starts just him talking about the excitement for this weekend and finally being in action.
It's exciting. We're anxious. I'll tell you that. We're really anxious and coming off momentum from last year. And man, the work that we put in, the progress that has happened since January, the team is excited. I can tell you that much. From watching our practices to the meetings and just seeing how disciplined our guys have become and the details and how much honed in we've been, it's going to be exciting. Our guys are ready and we can't wait to get on that plane and strap it up on Saturday.
What kind of challenge are you expecting on Saturday?
A tough, disciplined football team like we said last year. Those kids are really smart, really disciplined, really physical. Brought back in Coach Pritchard and everybody they brought in, and that was the days where they're ground and pound, big guys up front trying to win the battle in the trenches. So that's what we're expecting. I know our guys up front are ready for the challenge, but on the back end we got to go be ready to make some plays and we'll be ready.
It's your second time playing against Stanford. What has to happen, especially on the offensive side, to just continue kind of what happened last year and
just staying sound and just playing our game, right? Last year, we come out really bad. I gave up a sack for a touchdown on the 1-yard line, and we fair catch on the 2-yard line. So we give them 10 points off the rip, right? And our biggest point of emphasis is you look at last year, we started really slow. We only got 2 touchdowns in the first half. That's the big emphasis. Starting fast, being who we are. Not waiting for the first half to go on and we can finally get comfortable with the first game jitters. That's what we always part, I guess. It's the first game jitters, the first game uncertainties. For our guys, it's about going out there performing, putting what we prepared onto the field, and we'll be ready.
How different do you think it's going to be from obviously last year playing at home and obviously playing on the road?
Yeah, they got the same guys on defense, just I guess different coach staff. They're bringing a really experienced coach and Coach Richard. He's really known for being that Legion of Boom DC. So he's bringing in a lot of NFL experience with a lot of great resume on him. So we'll be ready for that. But environment-wise, I think our guys are ready. I think it'll be a nice stadium and it'll be fun to see. But at the end of the day, we're going up there to win. So that's what we're focused on.
You've gotten a lot of preseason hype and conversation around yourself, but going into week 0, how maybe freeing or exciting is it for you to let that talk be the talk, and now it's time to actually put something on the field?
Yeah, like you said, it's just going out there and playing free, right? All the preseason awards will happen, and to be honest, those don't matter, right? Not to down any of those awards because they are prestigious and we're truly grateful, but at the end of the day, you got to go out there and go play some good football and win some games. So, for us as a team, it's about going out there, not people say about us or whatever word we may got in preseason. We understand that those awards will be given out at the end of the season, and our main goal is to go win the championship and make the playoffs. So that's what we're focused on, and that journey starts on Saturday.
What are you expecting the environment to be like up at the farm?
Yeah, I can't really know. I haven't really played teams that have played up there, but the sun will be setting in our face. We're on that side, and I guess the student section on our side, and we'll see how it goes. They got Pacific Heritage Night, so we probably see a lot of Islanders up there, but I know our crowd will be up there, so I know it'll be representing Green Strong.
A little off subject, but Saturday was revealed your head coach had a 5-year extension.
Yeah.
How does that hit you for someone that's in the position that you're in?
I'm just proud of him and happy for him, and growing with him for the past 3 years, and really more than that with the high school recruiting, but just seeing the success he's had, and just that 5-year extension is huge, especially for him and his family, and their family is so beautiful, and we're just so glad for him. How hard he works, and personally I see it the most because I'm quarterback, and I'm with him 24/7, but just seeing the hours that he's put in, and to bring us back, he loves this place. He's the true definition of a hometown kid, and he wants to bring this place back to glory. So I think the state is in great hands with him, and you just can't be any more happy for him.
The CB got a 2-year deal also. What does that mean to you for a guy who got you to Bishop Gorman, got you here.
It's huge.
The commitment that you both have made to Hawaii.
It hits home just because, those guys are like second fathers to us, to everybody on the team. And, when you just want to see people like that succeed, and, when they get that opportunity, to just take care of themselves, take care of their families, and yet still be able to take care of the state, it's humongous. And, we're so happy for them, like I said. But at the end of the day, they understand that we're trying to win this year. They get their years, but, we're trying to go put it on this year, and we'll be ready.
A lot of talk has been made about college football playoff expectations and whatnot, but how important do you think it is to play a team like Stanford to start?
Yeah, that talk is very real, but at the end of the day, you can't get there if you don't want to know every weekend. So for us, it's not focusing on that in the postseason and, whatever may come in the postseason. For us, it's just focusing on Saturday, being able to take care of business every Saturday, go want to know every weekend, and, hopefully at the end of the year, we'll have that 0 on the loss record and reach what we want to reach. But like I said, you can't focus on that. You got to focus on what we got at a time and, take care of business.
And that was University of Hawaii's QB1, Micah Alihado, and what he had to tell the media the other day. And I have to say, Paul, 100% agree with Micah. You just got to start fast. They cannot start on the road the way they did at home against Stanford in week 0 last year. Like, you start like that, you fair catch it when you shouldn't on the 1 yard line, and then pin your offense back, and then risk having those humongous linemen go after Micah Alihado that close to the end zone, stripped a sack for a touchdown. Like, if you do that on the road in your first play of week 0 of your first game of the season, it's over. Like, it was just like pack up, go home. And I hate to say that because it's like you still have a full game to play, but you can't do something like that on the road. But if they start strong, they start fast. And I'm not saying they have to score a touchdown on that opening drive, but if they can string together a decent amount of passes, get at least somewhere that maybe, yes, Sean Olvera Harley can attempt his first field goal. And if he makes it, he makes it. And if he doesn't, he doesn't. But at least if they are able, this offense is able to penetrate what I believe is going to be a very strong defense. At least to me, that's a good enough start. Again, I'm not expecting them to score a touchdown. And then on the flip side, if you can at least get them or prevent Stanford from scoring a touchdown on your, I think that is a good, strong start for Hawaii. Once again, on the road, first game of the season, you still got to kind of get acclimated. Practice is one thing. Playing on the road and playing in a real game is an entirely different thing as well. So, yes, you got to start fast. You cannot mess up like that on the road because you're going to be, that's going to be a hole that will be almost impossible to dig yourself out of because you don't have the help of your hometown environment and your hometown crowd.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to be like football is really simple, but in this case, football does seem pretty simple for the Rainbow Warriors. You cannot start slow. You cannot fall too far behind where Stanford can lean into the type of offensive script that they want to get into, and that is the running attack. I talked about it earlier in the week. Micah Ford, a phenomenal back at 225 pounds. He is like a bowling ball trying to bring down. They've got a lot of experience returning on the offensive line to control the clock. If they are able to control time of possession and play from in front and continue to wear down a Hawaii defense that is going to be a little bit smaller than that Stanford offense, it's just the way that P4 versus G6 typically goes, then Hawaii's going to be in a lot of trouble. They can't lose the turnover battle. That was something last year that was important. After that fumble that ended up being a touchdown for Stanford, Hawaii did ultimately get it back kind of twofold. You obviously have the interception towards the end of the game and an incredible play, but you also had a blocked field goal, right? You had, and that I know that doesn't technically count as a turnover, but that is one of those big momentum changing plays or whatever it may be where if you win the turnover battle, if you win those momentum changing plays, then all of a sudden you put yourself in a much better spot. I'm not saying that this is going to be an easy game for Hawaii. Yeah. It should not be by any stretch of the imagination. But we've laid it out all week where you're going against a team who is in their first game under a new regime, a program that has been a loser since 2018,
and projected to be a loser in their conference.
Right. You know, like this is something where you want to step on their throat early. You want to have them play from behind early. I talked about, listen, Davis Warren is going to make throws. Davis Warren will have a pretty good day, I'm sure. But you want to make it so that Davis Warren is the one that has to beat you, not that you are just drowning because of the rushing attack of what Stanford will be. They brought in an offensive mind from Virginia who, guess what? They really liked to run the ball as well. So it's one of those things to me. I hate saying it's simple. Can't let Stanford play from a run script, and you have to not lose the turnover battle. If that happens, then Hawaii's going to be in a real good spot to win this, because I do think that their offense is just better. It just is. You got to put up points, though, so that your defense can play with a little bit more looseness, a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more, hey, you're going to have to pass the ball against us.
And just not be on the field for too long, right? We saw that during the first few, first couple of years of the Timmy Chang era, in that the offense just was not that good. So the defense was always out there. The defense was good. Like, they had a lot of talent defensively, Hawaii did, but they were just out on the field all the time because the offense couldn't stay there long enough. So they would just we've seen that. Like, the first half, Hawaii would be very competitive with these teams, and the second half, they're just gassed at that point, and you could not blame them because they were always out there on the field, right? So in this sense, like, kind of to echo and add on to what you were saying, if you can at least keep your defense rested, so when they go out there, they're not being run over by Micah Ford. Just to remind everybody, in last year's game, Micah Ford, 26 carries for 113 yards, only 1 touchdown, and a long of 17 yards. So for the most part, they were able to contain him, right? Nothing too much where he bursted open. Yeah, exactly. And then you're just like, oh my gosh, what is going on? So you have to, but of course, Micah Ford, a year older, a lot better as well. And with a new offensive coordinator, all that stuff that is focused on running the ball. And we can imagine their offensive linemen are humongous. So yes, they need to make sure they contain the run. And I agree with you, Paul, and it just forced them to play the passing game. But then at the same time, and I bring this up before, this is where I'm like, all right, how does this new secondary look for Hawaii as well?
So
but at least we can see it. Yeah. Yeah. You still got to compete. Exactly.
I understand the concerns about the secondary because it's just one of those things where they're going to have to be good for Hawaii to be good anyway. Yeah. You know, in general, it does feel as though it's going to be a tough game, but not an impossible game, obviously. No. There's a reason that you and I talked about this earlier in the week of we do have the belief that Hawaii's going to be able to beat Stanford. You did it last year. I understand it was at home, but I don't know. It's the way that you're starting a season. I am nervous. I am excited. I cannot wait for it. In general.
All right. Speaking of the defense, though, I want to let you guys hear from somebody who is going to be out there. Again, no depth chart, but I think it's not a secret that he is likely one of the ones that are going to be starting their defensive back, Elijah Palmer, one of the leaders on this team as well. Michael Esquero had a chance to chat with him one-on-one a couple of days ago. So getting his thoughts on this game and this defense, what this defense needs to do as well. So we will play that for you now, and here it is.
All right, we're with Elijah Palmer, senior defensive back for the University of Hawai'i Rainbow Warriors. Well, EP, season's about to start. You guys are playing Stanford, right? Talk about the feelings you have right now.
Yeah, just excited. Last one, senior year, just trying to leave everything on the field.
You mentioned it being your senior year, right? You were a part of the first recruiting class for Coach Timmy Chang and his staff, right? So this is kind of like the build-off year, right? Everybody wants to win the championship their senior year. So kind of talk about these past couple years for you and how much you and this team has been building.
Yeah, I still remember the day when Coach CB and Coach Chang came to my house and met my grandparents and my uncle. So to get here now, it kind of happened fast. Time flew, but just coming in, it wasn't easy. Went 5-7, 5-8, and then finally 9-4, and hopefully building on that. So it's been great to have them as coaches, not only just as coaches on the field, but off the field. They've made me into a man. I would say I've lost old ways under their coaching, under their style of coaching, because it means more than just football over here, and that's the big thing that they preach. Being leaders in the community, being a great husband and father one day, and those are things that I've accomplished and I'm going to accomplish because of them, right? So it's just been a great journey.
Yeah, you've been a nickelback for most of your career at the University of Hawaii, but you all in that safeties room, right? And there are some, you guys lost Peter and Kinahai that graduated, right? So is there any added responsibilities that you have on the field this season around?
Yeah, I mean, just as always, communication. I mean, that's any defense that goes out there. You have to be able to communicate. Having new guys, they're new in a sense, but at the same time, those guys were playing last year. So they're just now getting the nod and really going. So now it's just being able to build that chemistry, which we've already had built. Some of those guys in that safety round played in high school, played with them, coming in and stuff like that. So the chemistry is there. Now it's just us going out and executing.
Yeah, you mentioned they've not really new, but they're kind of in the system, right? Matangi, Kona Reese, and you guys also add some newcomers in Cody DeCamber from UNLV and also from Bishop Gorman, right? So how does that room look? Because right now, I think that's a kind of a question mark, considering some of the senior leadership guys lost last year. So how does that room kind of look?
Look good. We love the question mark. Let them think, you know what I mean? So I'll leave it at that. We'll show it on Saturday.
You guys got Stanford, right? Offensively, they got their OC is the O-line coach from Virginia, and you've probably seen the stats, seen the film, right? They like to run the ball. So what do you guys got to do to make sure that you guys, as a defense, do well against Stanford?
Fly around. Execute. Whatever's called, being able to execute the call. Everybody understand their fundamentals.
I do have to ask, right? Coach Chang and this team hasn't done well on that first game on the road, right? Before he got there, they lost at Michigan. It's Michigan, right? But then the following season, I think your first season, the Vanderbilt lost. But after that, Sam Houston State, kind of had hyped after the UCLA game, but kind of fell short. And then, last year against Arizona. So what do you guys got to do to flip the script to where you guys are not 0-1 to start the game on the road?
Yeah, so now it's just playing the ball where it lays. It doesn't matter where we're at. Football is football at the end of the day. We're one of the teams that are fortunate and blessed to travel as far as we do. And what comes with that is being able to play ball wherever we're at. And so that's just the main concern right now, is just teaching our young guys, like, it's a long travel, but at the end of the day, we play ball regardless.
You mentioned being a team that's fortunate and blessed, right? You guys are a team of fate, right? Yeah. And you guys pride yourself on that. You guys have no qualms with displaying that, right? One of those traditions you guys do is you guys, after every game, you guys pray with the opposing team, win, loss, or draw. So kind of share about your guys' fate and why it's important to put down display no matter the outcome.
Yeah, you got to understand we're a team of faith, yes, and we want to share that faith. The good news is that Jesus Christ died on the cross for our sins and rose 3 days later, right? So it's one of those things that we take serious here. So it's been a thing that's happened when I came in, and as I grew in my spiritual journey, as I got saved, and now me and Jemai are blessed and fortunate enough to do it with other teams after effect. We got young kids watching us, and to let them know that it's bigger than football. At the end of the day, are you doing the things necessary in the faith world and in the spiritual side of things to make sure that you know where you're gonna go after life has ended, right? Because we believe in eternal and living God, and that's what He is, and that's what He says, and that's what He says is the truth. And so that's one of those things that we take pride in, because it means more than just ball for us, and being able to have that opportunity to share that, being able to have other teams come in and join and talk to us after the game about faith, it means more, and also showing the kids that it's bigger than football. That what you do, always have faith in it, always trust in Jesus, because at the end of the day, He's the way, the truth, and the life.
All right, shout out to Elijah Palmer, again, senior defensive back for the University of Hawai'i football team. There's also the video version on our YouTube as well, if you guys want to see that, with our Michael Liscaro. Has some highlights of EP as well. Michael did a great job with EP. There's another video Q&A with Dean Brisky as well. So it's going to be a good one. But yes, the defense just executes, keeping it simple.
Love my wife. My wife texted me. She's very funny. By the way, this EP, you bring him up, and it makes me think of, this is not anything to do with the Stanford game. Makes me think of the tweet that football put out yesterday of picking your seat.
Oh.
I am curious. What was your answer again between it all? I think you said the Jason Momoa and DTC, right?
Yes. So that way I can fall asleep. Happen to fall asleep on the shoulder of Jason Momoa.
Who does shower because he's Aquaman. Oh, Michael, I love that guy. I would also choose EP, though, in that, because you listen to him speak there, and that's part of the reason I will say that I do have confidence in this defense being perhaps a little bit better than some people are giving it credit for. I know that there are plenty of question marks after graduations last year, but I just feel like they have very strong leadership on the inside. Elijah Palmer has been an all-conference level type of player before. I do think he can set the tone, show the ropes for these new guys in the defensive back room. And he is part of the reason I do have the confidence in the defense in general. And he's also just a pretty chill guy. So yeah, I think I would sit next to him probably. Not that I don't love Micah and Timmy and CB and Matt Chon and all of that in the front, but I don't know. I also like the aisle seat or a window seat. I'm not trying to sit in the middle. And also, I don't know, sitting next to CB, I would feel like I have to offer him the aisle seat instead of him being in the middle. So that's, anyway, totally off topic there.
All right. We're going to get to our schedule, or looking at the schedule and how we think Hawaii will fare through the whole schedule. Again, before kickoff tomorrow, we did get a comment in our YouTube chat by Randall. I think it was the first time you commented too. So much time stating the obvious, can't have a bad start. Please spend more time on what to do to have a good start. I'm not sure when you tuned in or if you tuned into Monday or Wednesday shows, but I thought we kind of said what you need to do. Basically, yeah. A bad start is what we saw. I did not expect them to do that. I don't expect you to have a brain fart in the opening kickoff, and then that's how it starts, right? Like, that is a horrendous. You cannot muff the kickoff or the first, no. And then to have a good start, I mean, I'm not going to go through any X's and O's. Run. I haven't seen the personnel of either team, so there's only so much detail we can do, but we kind of touched on it, where it's like a good start to me is that your first offensive drive you can get within field goal range, then your first good defensive defense being out there, you prevent Stanford from scoring on their first offensive drive. I think that is a good start. I think anyone who is watching the game will be like, all right, we didn't make any crazy mistakes. Take care of the football. Don't let, what did I say? 17 yards was the long by Micah Ford. Don't let him have anything longer than that. You keep him to maybe 5, maybe 10 yards per carry when they give him the ball. Those are kind of the little things you got to do. And again, there's only so much I can say in terms of what they need to do to have a good start, because we don't know what any of these teams look like this year. So positive approach. Michael Alejado, please stay healthy on the first drive as well. There is a ton of stuff. And I know we were very, very positive on Monday. And then on Wednesday's show, we focused a lot on the Stanford side of things as well. So a lot of football content if you guys want to catch up on everything leading up to kickoff tomorrow. But thank you for chiming in, though. We encourage you guys to chime in on the YouTube chat or text us as well. All right. It's time to get into it, Paul.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's go through our predictions now for this season.
Okay.
All right. Obviously, starting off with the game tomorrow, 1:00 p.m. on the ACC Network, Hawaii at Stanford. I'm sorry, you guys.
You've fallen off the bandwagon?
Yeah, I have. I do think Hawaii will cover. My Monday prediction, I feel like is better.
You had 5.5.
The 5.5. I just think it's one of those things, right? As positive, Paul, I want to be. They don't have a proven track record of winning on the road. You play a P4 team. They brought in a lot of good coaches. They have all that returning talent. I do think Hawaii keeps it close, but I feel like this will amount to a close loss for Hawaii. The more I dug into Stanford and kind of compared the two, I'm just and I also think it might be under. That hurts my heart. I'm over girly. I do think it's going to be under. I think it's going to be a similar game to last year, where it's just a hard-nosed football game and it's going to be close. But I think this time Stanford might have the upper hand just because they're going to be the home team. So this may or may not be an emotional hedge too, because I will be at that game tomorrow. So if I tell myself that this is going to be a loss and they win, it'll just be joyous, even more so. But yeah, the more I'm sorry, but you guys want my honest opinion, and there it is. So,
well, I got good news. I'm going against you. I'm going against Michael. I'm positive, Paul, for a reason, and this is something that I've talked about a lot. Going to Paul's parlor picks as well, which, by the way, get those in before the season starts tomorrow. We'll post them again one more time on social media. I have Hawaii winning this game.
Yay!
And I have Hawaii winning this game off of a couple of things. One, a lot of it is just an internal belief that this is going to be a special year. I feel it in my bones, and for it to be a special year, I believe that you have to win your first game. I believe that you have to set the tone. And it's been a long, long time since Hawaii has won a season-opening P4 game. I think it was, 92 I read from Star Advertiser or something like that. And it's been a long time.
Prior to last year?
Winning away.
Oh, away.
P4 game. Yeah, so I understand what you're saying. I understand what a lot of people's concerns are where, I mean, Stanford was, quite frankly, just way better at home last year. Of their record, all 4 wins came at home. They were 4-2 inside of the farm. So it's not going to be easy, but we've talked about it throughout the week. 1, this is Tavita Pritchard's first game coaching as a head coach at the college football level. I do think there's something to be said about that. I think if you talk to Timmy Chang, if you gave him truth serum, he would tell you, oh my God, my first game, I thought my head was going to fall off. It was spinning so much, like it is a lot. There is a lot of pressure on you. And especially with Stanford, that is a big time program name. He cares about the program a lot. It's not that he's not going to be prepared. It's not that he's not going to be able to handle things, but it's a lot. And I do think you can take advantage of that. And I've said this, I'm very much so on the record of this. I think quarterback is the most important position in the sport. I think that Hawaii, or potentially in sports, plural, I think Hawaii's got the better quarterback in this game. In fact, I would venture to say I know Hawaii has the better quarterback in this game. And I do think that there is something to be said about that. I think that the line has the ability to protect long enough. I do think that they're able to look at last year's start and correct that and say, hey, no stupid mistakes here. If we take care of business, we go on the road, we can win. And to me, it's the next step in Timmy Chang's growth. They were under 500 on the road every single year prior, set the tone from the start against the Stanford team that still is rebuilding, still needs to get better, and will be better by the end of the season. I think you're lucky to get them in week 0. You're lucky to start off like this, and I think you can take advantage of that. You can't beat yourself. If Hawaii beats themselves, then that's a whole different conversation. But I think Hawaii is good enough. It starts off what is going to be a special year.
I love that. Good job, Paul. Being positive, Paul. Balancing it out. All right, so I think it'll be the L for Hawaii, and then Paul thinks it will be the opening dub there. But to agree with you, yes, I think Hawaii overall has the more complete offense as well, right? We saw Cam Barfield. He's getting better, and Devon Rice looked really good in practices. So,
running game.
yeah, they definitely have the more complete offense in terms of they're not only going to rely on just one, side where that's where Stanford looks like it's just going to be the run. So if Hawaii shuts down the run, it could fare better for this defense. All right, going over to UNLV, I do think that this is going to be a win, though, for Hawaii. We mentioned it earlier that UNLV doesn't have a solid quarterback situation there. I do think Hawaii is determined to get their get back. They know how awful that performance was at Allegiant Stadium last season. We always talk about how Hawaii just plays phenomenal at home. I mean, their record against the spread is absurd at how good they are, especially when they play at home. So I do think I'm going to assume, well, depending on how this weekend goes, I can imagine UNLV is potentially a slight favorite in this one, just because based on they were in the Mountain West Championship game last year, Dan Mullen's back, all of that stuff. But because, once again, I don't believe what their stability is there offensively, unlike last season where they did have Anthony Calandria, who was just like, man, that guy is good. I don't know if they're going to be as good offensively this year. And like I said, Hawaii just plays to another level. Especially if they are coming off of the loss to Stanford. They don't want to start the season off 0-2 for sure. Hawaii's going to get out with this Mountain West win over the Rebels.
2-0.
Woohoo! 2-0. Move on.
It's really all I got for you.
I love that.
Where very similarly, it's an important game. I think they want to get back after last year. I think they were very embarrassed after talking to some of the players. I think a lot of them still have that game on their mind. And similar to what we heard earlier in the week from Jemiah Otis, this team is taking a one game at a time approach, and I do think that that'll be important for them. Plus, if I say they're beating Stanford, they're going to be riding high. This is going to be a special season. 2-0.
2-0. And I'm going to assume you're going to go 3-0 in this case. And in my case, 2-1, because New Mexico State, at home.
Can't lose that game, period.
And you
3-0.
can't. It's first responders night, that game as well. You can't like desecrate that type of night where we're honoring our first responders, considering how much disasters Hawaii has had in the last couple of years or the last few years. So you cannot lose that game. New Mexico State is just nowhere near, at least on paper, what Hawaii is. So they're going to win that game for sure. All right, going on the road at Wyoming. I think this is going to be a win as well because they are playing Wyoming when it's nice, crisp weather and not cold weather. And as we talked about before, continuing the charter flight, so they're nice and comfortable going out there in their trip to Wyoming. And to be fair, I haven't got into any of the deep prep for some of these other Mountain West teams yet, but I do believe Hawaii is better. I think the preseason polls are pretty accurate in terms of what we're seeing. Again, this is barring any injuries. We're going based off of who is entirely healthy right now. I think Hawaii beats or wins on the road at Wyoming. 4-0,
2-0 in the Mountain West. Purposefully, same thing. I also think Pafele Ashlock will very likely be back by the Wyoming game, if not sooner. And that would be a massive boost, especially going on the road. And just riding high, I think it's a pretty perfect first month for Hawaii. And this is obviously, I should throw this caveat in here. This is assuming health. Nothing disastrous happening where Micah Alihado out for the season or whatever it may be. That's where my mind is at. But yeah, 4-0, 2-0 in the Mountain West. Wyoming, I think, will be better than they were last year, but I also just think Hawaii is, frankly, a better squad.
Mm-hmm. All right, going on over, I would, Paul will likely have them going undefeated this whole time because I do feel like they will also beat San Jose State to open up October. The Spartans coming out here, just similar to what we were saying about the UNLV game. I think they need to get their get back. That loss at San Jose State last year was embarrassing. We call it the unofficial Hawaii Bowl here because of all of the similar Hawaii ties. And Craig Stutzman seems like he game plans just to, this is the Army-Navy game for them, where it's like if you can at least beat the University of Hawaii if you're the Spartans is one thing. I don't think the players aren't going to take this game lightly. Obviously, the coaches, especially too, who want to get back from what happened last year. And once again, Hawaii just having that true home field advantage playing out here at Ching. They cannot lose. They got to keep this record unblemished in the Mountain West. And I think they do that when San Jose State comes here on October 3rd.
Yeah, agreed. 5-0, 3-0. Sorry, brother Luke. I will say this is going to be on paper, I think, where, like you said, San Jose State always seems to give Hawaii trouble, especially since Coach Kenny got there. And on top of that, for whatever reason, it seemed like Timmy Chang has struggled with San Jose State as well since taking on over. So I do think they finally get that piano off their back. They start the season 5-0 and set up a massive matchup the next week at Arizona State.
This one I'm curious about you. I'll keep my prediction brief. I think Arizona State and what they've built there. Head coach's name is escaping me.
Kenny Dillingham.
Dillingham, thank you very much. A fired up head coach. I think he's done a phenomenal job turning around that program at Arizona State. I think same thing, tough enemy territory, P4 opponent, similar to what we were talking about with Stanford, except this is going to be a better team than Stanford. So this is probably going to be an L in my book for Hawaii going over to Arizona State.
No confidence, Coot. No, this is where the magic stops for Hawaii in terms of an undefeated season. And it's not just because it's Arizona State on the road, whatever, but I do think you have to take into account there is no bye week yet for the Rainbow Warriors. And part of the reason I do believe that they have an ability to beat Stanford in week 0 is because they will be fresh, because they should be mostly healthy. And at that point, no bye weeks, 6 weeks in, probably going to be dealing with some injuries, maybe some fatigue.
Well, September 19th, they got a bye week.
Well, nonetheless, you still get what I'm saying here in terms of no bye week. They've played 4 straight games, up until that point where no bye week beforehand. Perhaps the physicality starting to catch up to them as well. It's just a lot. And I do think that you already used your P4 win in week 0. So 5-1, they finally drop one, but one nonetheless that they're competitive in over at Arizona State.
All right, next one here. New Mexico, one of the favorites to win the Mountain West Conference, but we talked about it earlier. It was announced yesterday that their starting quarterback is out for the season now with an injury. We don't know how good maybe the backups are. They're still a very good team. They're a very good defense. They do have to come out here to Hawaii, though, and I think Micah Alihado will have himself a day once again. I do think, though, it'll be a bit of a tougher game than it was in his debut against them in his starting debut 2 seasons ago, but nonetheless, same thing, home field advantage. That is homecoming. You can't lose on your homecoming. I think Hawaii does what it needs to do to take care of business against New Mexico, and they get that dub in the Mountain West.
I like your positivity.
Yeah.
I have 2 straight losses for Hawaii.
Ooh.
This is where a little bit of adversity hits in what is a special season, and we're going to see what Hawaii is really made of. Going back to the point I made before, you're going through this stretch of not really getting much of a break, coming off an immediate game at Arizona State the next weekend. Still, you got to play against somebody who I think will be competing for that other spot in the Mountain West Championship game. I just gave you a little hint. But also, you bring up the starting quarterback being out. By that point in the season, I do think the new guy will have settled in a little bit more. They'll feel pretty good about where they're at. For New Mexico scares me a little bit. They do have the preseason Defensive Player of the Year in Jackson Eck. It's important to win this game, of course, but it's also not a backbreaker if you lose it, if you can take care of business the rest of the way.
Yeah, I like it. And to add to, I guess, Paul's thought where they are going to lose, New Mexico, to their credit, is coming off of a bye at that point. So I want to make sure you point out there.
Rest advantage.
So this is where it's going to get a little wonky for me. I think they lose at Northern Illinois, actually.
Okay.
They go on the road. They take a long flight. It is a charter, but it's a long trip out there to Northern Illinois, and kind of similar to your thought process when it was Arizona State at that point now. So their first bye is on September 19th, in between New Mexico State and Wyoming. But up until that point, you have 2, possibly 3 hard-nosed football games from San Jose State, Arizona State, and New Mexico. And then you have to go on a long-haul trip all the way to Illinois. And I don't know if they have to do one layover or if it's going to be direct or anything like that. So I think because you are playing all of those very, very tough games, the body's tired, you have to go on that flight. Hawaii tends to have a wonky loss to a team that they should not lose to at all. And unfortunately, just the way that the cards are stacking, I feel like that could potentially be the blemish in the Mountain West. And it'll be that game where we're like, how did Northern Illinois will have an awful season, and we will look back at that loss and be like, how did they lose to Northern Illinois? So it pains me to say this, but again, this is just going by history and how we've kind of seen every season go. So unfortunately, yes, they have a massive win against New Mexico, and then we look back at the Northern Illinois game and be like, how did this happen?
Emotional drop-off. I think that is a fair thought process. They're getting back on track, though. I can't have them lose 3 straight games, Koo. Going on the road, they had a big win to start the season. They lost the one at Arizona State afterwards. They're locking back in. They're saying, well, they also beat Wyoming in this dream world of mine. But they're locking back in. They understand they are so close to that next bye week coming on up during that Halloween weekend to close out October. They are pissed because they've lost twice in a row. They really feel like they let one go through their hands against New Mexico on homecoming night, where they fall because something stupid happens. No, they come out, they're winning by double digits against Northern Illinois, who, by the way, I think is going to be a little bit better than people are giving credit for this season.
Yeah. And
there's a reason I didn't throw you totally like, oh, you're crazy. I think there is a real world where your prediction happens. I think a motivated, angry, and looking forward to a bye week Hawaii team wants to finish out and go into the bye week on a win.
I also, too, think I'm a little, bias is the wrong word, but everyone knows, like, I'm a vibes person. And so when we were at Mountain West Media Days, the head coach, Rob Harley, for Northern Illinois, like, I don't know, he just gives me like like that good like head coaching vibe where I feel like kind of like to what you were saying, like they're going to be better than expected. I just feel like this coach kind of gives me exudes confidence, so to speak, to be able to kind of get this team where he wants them to be. All right. Now next will be UTEP to open up November at UTEP. I think Hawaii, again, coming off of that wonky loss to Northern Illinois at Northern Illinois, they do have that bye week now. So they will come back, they will recover, get healthy before taking another long trip. But at least this time, again, they have that 2-week or 10-day break, so to speak, from travel, because that is that bye week on October 31st weekend. So when they go to UTEP, they're fired up, they're ready, they're recovered. I think they go there and because UTEP, we don't know at all until we get to this point. But as it stands right now, offensively, they don't really scare me. The Miners don't. So I think Hawaii goes and gets back on track at that point after their bye week and win at UTEP.
Yep, agreed. I think they are winning that game. I think that it's nice to play in Texas when the weather is starting to get a little bit colder up in the north as well. And UTEP, they'll be okay. I don't think that they will be better than Hawaii. And once again, I've said it multiple times. If this is to be the special season I expect it to be, you have to take care of the teams that you're supposed to take care of, and that is UTEP in this situation. Also, coming off of byes last year, they were 1-2. I don't think that's going to be the case again this year. I think they will learn from last year. I do think that they have the ability to win these types of games. So, yeah, I have them continuing to stay on track because I have them winning the previous game. So,
all right, this is the one that I will continue to go back and forth with just because, man, this is North Dakota State that Hawaii plays at home on November 14th when they come back home after playing at UTEP. I've gone back and forth with this so many times, but when I look at, okay, you have this loss, as fate would have it, I think those are only going to be those 3 losses for Hawaii this year. And I think it's going to be a hard-nosed football game. But because it is played at Ching, I think it is going to go in Hawaii's favor. I do think, like I said, it's going to be tough. North Dakota State is actually coming off of their bye week. So it's not like they have a short travel of playing on the Saturday and having to come out here right away. They get a break. They get to recover on there. So they will be fresh when they come out here. I can imagine they'll make plans to get here a little longer, not do the Dan Mullen and be like, we're going to get there like on Thursday evening or something, right? North Dakota State, I think they're in it to win it, and they're going to manage that travel accordingly. I think it's going to be a tough one. I think I can imagine if the records are going the way that we have been saying throughout this time, it's going to be a packed-out Chang. Hawaii cannot disappoint at this point because they're going to be in the Mountain West Championship conversation. It will be a walk-off field goal win for Hawaii.
Ooh, yeah, call your shot. I like it. I also have this as a win, not an easy one by any stretch of the imagination. I think actually North Dakota State is kind of a bad matchup for Hawaii, their style of football. It's the West Coast style versus the ground and pound, hard-nosed, whatever it may be, where it almost is a similar conversation to week 0 that we've had about Stanford, about if you can shut down their running attack, then all of a sudden I feel a little bit better. But Hawaii is just an impressive team at home. They just really, really are, especially when Timmy Chang has been their coach so far. So I am also of the belief that Hawaii wins this game. They step to the plate. They continue on just the 1 loss in Mountain West play, just the 2 overall as they head into the final 2 weeks of the regular season. Not because it's not going to be a really difficult game against North Dakota State, but because since they're playing in Hawaii, I do think the Bows get the first one off the Bison. Though I will say, once they go to Fargo, I think I might call the other way.
Well, we don't know yet. We don't know what next year's team looks like. We'll get there when we get there. All right. Well, this is an easy one. I mean,
Loss?
Timmy Chang.
No, I'm kidding.
At Nevada.
Oh,
I already
gosh.
picked my wonky loss of the
Yes,
season.
fair.
That would be Northern Illinois. They cannot lose at Nevada again. They seem to have that figured out no matter what. Like Timmy Chang is perfect against Nevada. Don't pick this year to start off with. I think they win at Nevada. And Sacramento State, I mean, you better close out the season, beating Sacramento State, because at that point too, if the season is going how we thought, especially if it's going how positive Paul here thinks, you are legitimately giving yourself or getting yourself into the conversation of a college football playoff. And you got to end off playing Sacramento State. You need to beat them and beat them good to make sure that you are covering the spread by far. Even maybe the same thing for Nevada, because they're not expected to be very good as well. So I think Hawaii does close out the season strong. They're going to be a tough battle with North Dakota State, but going to Nevada and then ending off at home here against Sac State, I think it'll be a couple of big wins to close out the season and continue their name being in the conversation for the college football playoff. And of course, the Mountain West Championship game.
Do you remember what the Paul's Parlor lines were that I set for the wins? It was 6. It was 9.
Yes.
Not making a bowl. It was 10.
Oh, yeah. It's like the chaos of not making a bowl.
It was 10 plus. Right now, I have them at 8-2 entering these final 2 weeks. Koo, there's a reason I put the line like that. It's because I am of the belief that this is a double-digit win season. They have the ability to do it. They have the quarterback to do it. Timmy Chang has the comfort with a 5-year extension in his back pocket now that we're going to show that Hawaii football is here to stay. You're going to get the team more healthy through the year. Pafele Ashlock, who I think is an NFL prospect, will cement himself as an NFL prospect by the end of the year. They beat Nevada because that's just what they do. Ever since Timmy has come through, they don't lose to Nevada. It's going to be important that that continues in this one. They only end up losing one time in the entirety of their Mountain West schedule. They clinch a spot in the Mountain West Championship game. And Koo, they can't lose on senior night. They just can't do it.
No.
It's happened now since I've been here. I won't bring up the team, but it has happened, which was very disappointing. But nonetheless, it still ended up being a pretty special season for that program. They're beating Sacramento State as well. That is, I already took the loss in college football 27, losing to Sacramento State so that they can win. So yes, I've got them 10-2 overall and in the Mountain West Championship. I told you at the start, I believe it's a special season. I told you that I believe in the young men in this program, the growth that they have taken. These are Timmy's guys, the first class that Timmy got in terms of Elijah Palmer, in Jemai Otis. They're grown men now. It's time for them to show that they are ready to compete for a Mountain West championship. There you go. There's your positive Paul prediction for the season. I told you I thought it was going to be a good year.
I love it.
Might be a great year.
I love it. So we're kind of, on track there with I'm at 9-3. Easily will cash my ticket of the win total that I put in my futures bet in the summer at 7.5. That one I was confident they're going to go over that win total. If they don't, something went horribly wrong. Micah gets injured again or something like that.
Then, all of this, scratch it from the record.
So, but there you guys have it. Our predictions for the season for University of Hawaii as they get geared up to kick off against Stanford tomorrow. Once again, 1 p.m. Hawaii time on the ACC network. If you're just tuning in, let me make sure I get that for you guys again. At least on my Spectrum TV app that I looked up this morning, it is on Spectrum 251. And then thank you to our friend Chris in Boise that on Hawaiian Telecom, he has it at channel 261. So if you guys are curious as to where to find it, if you have those, or if you don't have cable, you can also get it on through ESPN. Do you have to have like ESPN Plus and stuff to get that? Yeah, I guess you do.
I would assume.
Yeah, because you can't. Yeah, because you have to either have a cable subscription or okay. So ESPN Plus or whatever they call it now. Maybe you can find it on the ticker, but
the ticker that's going away, you mean?
Yeah, that's why I had to say it. So that's in case you guys are wondering where your channel is. Tell your friends and all of that stuff. All right. Last but not least, unfortunately, man, that I'm not surprised it went longer. We didn't get to some high school football stuff. We'll get to that definitely on Monday. Once again, we were out covering Wailua versus Kaimuki, the Bulldog Bowl, in which Kaimuki broke an 18-game losing streak. But that is not my Aloha Friday shout out actually for today. As the University of Hawaii seasons now start rolling along, I want to just give an early shout out to everyone that makes the trip to watch the UH men's or women's teams play on the continent, whether you're making the trip out from Hawaii to the continent, or if you're in surrounding states or anywhere on the continent and you go and you live either in that state, you just go and support the University of Hawaii when they are on the road. I just want to give an early shout out now because all of these games will start up. Everyone's traveling. So shout out to all of you that go and support the University of Hawaii, Rainbow Wahine and Rainbow Warriors when they're at the road games, because a lot of times, especially for volleyball, football, it really travels well, but it always feels like, man, you see a lot of green, you see a lot of Hawaii fans. So shout out to all of you fans that go and support the Bows when they are on the road. That is my Aloha Friday shout out.
I like it. I spoiled my Aloha Friday shout out earlier in the week with a story because mine is Timmy Chang, because the head man of the football program is the kindest individual you will ever meet. When obviously earlier this week there was the patch announcement, jersey patch announcement. I was, of course, on dad duty that day as well, so trying to do a little bit of everything. And as Mel starts to fuss a little bit, Timmy Chang gets my attention, makes eye contact with me, asks if he can help in any way, and just made my life a little bit easier. And I think that there's good karma. I do think those types of things come around. And that is, by the way, part of the reason I do believe that Hawaii will be ready to play on Saturday, will be ready to go, and will take down Stanford in a very, very exciting Week 0 matchup, because good karma comes back around. And Timmy, he didn't have to do that, and he did without even hesitating. So that's my Aloha Friday shout out.
I love that. What a perfect one there to cap off this show. And on this Aloha Friday, hope you guys have a great weekend. Go out and enjoy some University of Hawaii sports. A lot of stuff for you guys. You got women's volleyball, women's soccer, and football, of course, and Week 0. So, but for now, we got to go. So for Paul Brecht, I'm Ku'ule Agbayani. Mahalo for listening and watching, whether live or on demand. We appreciate all of you that do, but have a great weekend. We will see you Monday, and hopefully I am wrong in my prediction. I will take that L and be wrong 100% and give Paul the good start here to the season. So we got to go now. We'll chat on Monday. Have a great weekend. Bye.
Listening to the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, streaming 24/7 at hawaiisportsradio.com and on the new Hawaii Sports Radio app.